YouTube! We have a new deck in Master Duel. Not new for the TCG, but it is Maliss. And this deck is insanely powerful. If you've been through the TCG, you've been through it. If you play Master Duel, you're just starting to go through it. And if you play Duel Links, well, hopefully you never go through it. But yeah, this deck is kind of like a mix of Salamangreat and Ritual Beast in the playstyle. I say this because it has the banishing of Ritual Beast and the million extenders that Salad has. And it's very, very strong. We're going to talk about it and how it works. So basically what you need to know is that every Maliss effect has monster has an effect that it happens on field and when they are banished. So they'll get an effect when banished and get an effect on field. So let's start off with one of the best ones. Hold on, let me move this over a bit for you guys because this is a little bit. There, this will be a little bit easier for you to see. Maliss White Rabbit. So White Rabbit has the effect that on summon can set any Maliss trap from your deck. And it can also, when banished, special summon itself. So most of the time, they all special summon themselves when they're banished, including their link monsters. So they all special summon themselves when banished. Except for March Hare. That's the only one that differentiates. But White Rabbit on special summon just summons itself and then gets the effect to set a spell or trap in the deck. So again, on summon sets a spell or trap. When banished can just summon itself. But again, its effect is on summon. And also, random effect, you take no battle damage. I mean, no damage from involving link monsters that point to this card. So that can be something really random, and I'm sure your opponent will not read this, but yeah, you can do that. And you can only use each of the effects once per turn. But very, very strong. This is a one-card combo, and I'm going to show it to you. Yeah, this is very, very, very good. Next, we have Maliss Dormouse. P. Dormouse. This card is absolutely insane. Dormouse is the best starter in the deck. Basically, on summon, it can banish any, not on summon, but on the field, it can banish any Maliss monster from your deck. So this is essentially like Spiritual Beast Conahawk for Maliss. You summon it, and it's an ignition effect, can banish any Maliss monster from your deck. And for the rest of the turn, all Maliss monsters gain 600 attack. Now, this is a lingering permanent effect for the rest of the turn, meaning that any additional Maliss monster you summon, it will all get boosted up, and that becomes very, very strong. If this card is banished, you pay 300 life points, special summon it, and you cannot special summon it except for link monsters. So Dormouse is really, really strong. It's both an extender and a starter at the same time. So this is a crazy, crazy card. If you see this card get summoned and you're trying to beat Maliss, definitely imperm this. You want to imperm this. Do not want them to resolve Dormouse. Dormouse is very, very strong. The same with White Rabbit, because if they normal summon it, then those are their two best normal summons in the entire deck. So, yes. Okay. So, now that we've gone over White Rabbit and Dormouse, we're going to go over the next one, which is March Hare. March Hare is an extender. This card is really, really good for multiple different reasons. Again, on the field, this doesn't have an effect on the field. Well, it does. Your opponent cannot target link monsters that point with this card, with card effects. Point to this card with card effects. So, again, this will protect your link monsters with card effects. So, if they wanted to imperm, say, your White Binder, and this is pointing to it, then they wouldn't be able to imperm that. Or the same goes with your Hearts Cryptor. If you wanted to point that, protect that, or your Red Ransom, you could do that as well. So, that could be something that you want to do. The other thing I didn't go over with Dormouse is that Maliss link monsters that point to Dormouse cannot be destroyed by card effects. Again, these are not the most come up effects, but they're good to know. So this one will protect from targeting, this one will protect from destruction, and then this one will prevent any damage. So White Rabbit prevents damage, Dormouse prevents destruction by card effect, and then March Hare prevents targeting. But the main effects that what you're here for is that during the main phase, this card's in your hand. You can banish one other Maliss card from hand or graveyard, and if you do special summon this card, this is great because if they imperm your Dormouse and you open up March Hare, you can link it off your Dormouse into your link decoder, and then use March Hare to banish out your Dormouse, and then Dormouse can go full combo right after that point. So that's very good if you get imperm. That's a way you can play through it. Keep in mind that you cannot Ash the Dormouse the same way you can't Ash a Kanahawk. This is because it banishes from the deck. It is not actively summoning. And it's even more powerful than, again, Ash against Ritual Beast, because if you were to do a one-card combo with Kanahawk and banish a Laura and activate Laura's effect to summon out of the deck, then that's not going to work because you'll get Ash. This will summon from the banish, which dodges Ash Blossom. So very powerful. Next, we have our final Maliss that we're going to talk about main deck-wise is Chessy Cat. This card is insanely good. Basically, its on-field effect, again, has 2 of them. Any monster destroyed with a Maliss Link monster that this points to is banished. So again, this could be something that you may want to look at, because if you go up against something that maybe you don't want in the graveyard, then this is a cool way to get rid of it. But you can only use each of the following below effects once per turn. Chessy Cat is basically Pot of Greed. You banish 1 Maliss card from your hand, then draw 2 cards, which is absolutely insane doing this on the combo line. And generally the card you're going to banish is going to be an extender. So that could be your Maliss in the Mirror, or you could even banish something like the Maliss that maybe you haven't even summoned yet. So if you have opened multiple Maliss monsters, maybe you're banishing, you know, White Rabbit, and you're doing the Dormouse line, so you would summon White Rabbit later in the combo anyway. So, you know, this is absolutely insane. Chessy Cat, really, really crazy card. But most of the time, you can banish any Maliss card. It could be Maliss in the Mirror, and then you can use Maliss in the Mirror's effect. Say, banish from your graveyard your Red Ransom, then bring back your Red Ransom, and then also search off Maliss in the Mirror, and then search off Red Ransom as well. So it's really, really crazy, this card. And it's Pot of Greed, so you're going to naturally draw into more text. You play plenty of text in this deck. Like, there's like 20 tech cards in this deck, so the odds of you drawing in the tech cards are pretty high. Then you have, obviously, your spells and traps. So, going over the spells and traps, we're going to talk about Maliss in Underground. This is a starter as well. When this card is activated, you banish any Maliss from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Very, very good. It can even banish the traps, but most of the time you're not aiming to do that. You're just trying to banish your either your Maliss in the Mirror or any of your Maliss monsters. Also, while 3 or more of your Maliss traps names are banished, Maliss Link monsters will gain 3,000 attack, which can be insane, but again, doesn't really come up too much. While you control a Maliss Link monster, your opponent can only target Maliss Link monsters for attacks. The main thing is, this is a starter, and it's an extender, and you can search it. It's really, really good, and yeah. So, if you start it, you're generally banishing the Dormouse, because the Dormouse can summon itself, and then you bring out the Dormouse, and then Dormouse banishes another Maliss monster. So it could be your White Rabbit, and then your White Rabbit could set a trap, and then all of a sudden you're extending into plays. You know, so you could then banish your White Rabbit, summon your White Rabbit, set a trap, and then maybe you summon out, like, you could go for Cat if you want, or even go for Hare, and then link those 2 off into, like, Agados, Littledos, add back Hare, summon. This is just, like, things I'm thinking right off the top of my head, and ways you can get into Red Ransom. So, yeah. Then you are playing. We are going to do a Master 1 climb with this, probably on stream, likely on stream. So, yeah, definitely want to tune in for that. So then after that, we are playing our 3 Maliss traps and Maliss in the Mirror. So let's talk about Maliss in the Mirror. So this card is absolutely insane. This is a negate. This card can negate any monster on the field your opponent controls. I shouldn't say on the field, but your opponent controls. But you have to banish a Maliss monster from face up on the field or a hand. To do that, it's not really that big of a deal. But the main use is its second effect. Basically, this card is banished. You can target 1 Maliss card in your graveyard, banish it, and if you do, add 1 Maliss card to the same type monster, spell, or trap in deck to add. Now, right off the bat, that seems like it's a little bit costly, but it's really not at all. This card gains you a ton of advantage. It's really crazy, and you'll see it in the combos. But basically, you're aiming to banish your Red Ransom, to resummon your Red Ransom, to get another banish off your Red Ransom, and then add 1 off of this. So, in some cases, you end up adding Hare twice, March Hare twice, really, really good. And then your 3 traps. So, CMTP07. So, this one is absolutely crazy. You're going to set this generally off of either your White Rabbit, or you could set this off of your White Binder. So, again, you can activate the turn that this card was set by banishing one face-up Maliss you control. Add one Maliss monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you control a Maliss Link monster, banish any card in the field. Keep in mind that does not target. So if your opponent has something like, your opponent has something like a back row or something they want to respond to, or a monster effect, they're going to have to change it immediately, or they risk getting banished and they won't be able to respond afterwards. So that's very, very good. And when you activate this on your opponent's turn, you will control a Link monster, so you will be banishing. Then we have Maliss C GWC 06. You can activate the turn this card was set by banishing one face-up Maliss you control. Special summon any of your Maliss monsters that were banished or in the graveyard. Then if you control a Maliss Link monster, you gain life points equal to the original attack of that special summon monster. So this is absolutely insane, because you're going to banish your White Binder, resummon your White Binder. Banish your White Binder, resummon your Red Ransom, and then White Binder can resummon itself. And we'll talk about what I mean in a second. So that's basically the main use of this. But you're also going to use this on your opponent's turn to activate this, to resummon your White Binder, potentially banish your big boss monsters, resummon them. So for example, like your Crimson or your Hearts Cryptor, and then summon back your Hearts Cryptor by banishing it, and then go off that way. So that's really, really good. And it can also trigger your March Hare to get back your White Rabbit, and then White Rabbit summon itself, and then be able to get White Rabbit's effect to set your MTP07 to banish. And then the last one is MC Maliss CTB11. This is the one you're generally going to set off White Rabbit turn 1 if you open it. So you set this by banishing one face-up Maliss you control. All your traps have that ability. They can activate themselves the turn they're set by banishing a Maliss. Special summon one Maliss from your deck, and if your opponent controls 3 more cards, you can special summon one Maliss Link monster from your extra deck instead. So that's really good, but it cannot attack or activate its effects. That summon monster. Now, keep in mind it says that summon monster. So if you link it off and resummon it again, then it will activate its effects. So keep that in mind. So really, really crazy. Absolutely insane. Actually, no. Never mind. You won't be able to link it off and resummon it again because it won't be summoned properly. So ignore that I just said that. But yeah, really, really crazy card. Then you have all your staples. So we're playing Lancia, obviously, for the Mira. If you want to stop this deck, Lancia is the best way, because Lancia prevents your opponent from banishing any card, so it pretty much is a turn skip. Bystials are great if you time them out right. When do you want a Bystial? Generally, there are 2 really good cases to Bystial. The one case is you could use it on Decoder, which if they go for a 1-card line could slow down their combo. But the best opportunity is when they go for Splash Mage, because they go Splash Mage and revive a Maliss. If they haven't used Dormouse, I know you're going to see this from other creators, but if you haven't used Dormouse, then you don't want to do it. But if they've already used Dormouse's effect to banish resummon itself, then you can banish that. And then that could slow them down. If they've already used, let's say, their Dormouse that they targeted, or their White Rabbit that they targeted, you could slow them down that way. We're also playing Dominus Impulse because we're only summoning dark monsters. This card is absolutely cracked. So basically, this card just negates a special summon, an effect that activates the special summon, negate it. And if you have a trap in the graveyard, you can destroy the card. This card is absolutely insane. I don't need to tell you. It's basically Solemn Warning in the hand. Really powerful grab. Our grab, this card is crazy in the decks that it can play in. And it can be played in this one. Okay, so alongside that, we're playing Allure as an additional starter. Gold Sark as an additional extender. And then Dimensional Shifter, obviously, because we want to banish everything, so why not hamper our opponent's ability to play the game. Then our extra deck, we're going to talk about the Maliss Links. First is Red Ransom. This card is cracked. All of them are really broken. So Red Ransom on summon adds any spell or trap from deck to hand, any Maliss spell or trap, which is already good. While this card points to a monster, the original attack and defense of all effect monsters your opponent controls are switched. This randomly could come up. So, your opponent may not expect this effect and then really get killed because of it. And that's a continuous effect. This cannot be negated by negating an activation effect. This is a continuous effect. Next, you can only use the following effects once per turn. Like I said, you can search a spell on summon. Also, again, all the links have this. If this card's banished, you pay 900 life. Summon itself, which is really crazy. Again, you can only use that once per turn. No infinite looping. And then you can special banish one Cyberse from the deck. So you special summon itself and then banish one Cyberse from the deck. So that automatically extends twice. It brings itself back and then banishes any Cyberse from the deck, which, considering the way Maliss works, it basically searches any card in the archetype. This is an absolutely insane card because it searches twice, essentially, and extends multiple times in a turn. Crazy. And it's only on a link 3. Next, we have White Binder, and another crazy card. So, if this is special summon, you can target any up to 3 cards in any graveyard, banish them. So this is essentially El Shadal, a Nef Shadal Ariel, if you know about Shadal. But basically, it's a shuffler, except it banishes. Target up to any 3 cards in the graveyard, banish them, which is crazy, like against Fiendsmith, against Crystron, all those decks that are top tier. Even Blue Eyes that want to have their cards in the graveyard, you deny them. During your main phase, you can set 1 Maliss trap from your deck or graveyard. So immediately this sets any of your traps. So if you want access to your GW6, you could do that instantly, which is cracked. And then, on top of that, you also have the ability of the banish effect. So if this card is banished, you can special summon it, pay 900 life points, and draw a card. So it automatically pays for itself. Really, really good, obviously. And then you have the most broken one of them all. Well, they're all broken. Is Hearts Cryptor. Hearts Cryptor is crazy card because this takes 3 monsters, including a Maliss. But quick effect, you can target one of your banished Maliss cards, shuffle the deck, and if you do, banish 1 card in the field. So this does not target. This is essentially like Mirror Jade. So it just, but target, you can go after anything. It doesn't have to be a monster. So, and also while this card points to a monster, its effective activation cannot be negated, which is crazy. So they cannot negate it if it points to a monster. You just have to accept it. If this card is banished, you pay 900 life points, special summon it, and double its attack, which is crazy for going second because that threatens lethal very fast. So it's already 5,000 attack, and if you use Dormouse, then it goes up to 5,600. And you can only use Cryptor's effect once per turn. So this is instantly summoned on your field, and you can banish any card in the field. And of course, with your White Binder, you can banish this card from your graveyard, resummon it, and then instantly have a Mirror Jade access on your field. So absolutely crazy. And you're going to see with the combos, you're drawing 3 cards in 1 turn. We also play Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest Terrorist, which can send our Mirror Logic Aggregator. You could play you could play another one as well. You could play your, I forget the name of it, but it's one that allows you to steal your opponent's monster. Someone comment in the comments. And then you also play your Cyber Worm. I can't pronounce this. But basically, it's the spell Trap Negate, and it can stop Called by the Grave, which would slow you down. And yeah, really good deck. Alright, we're going to start by normal summoning White Rabbit. And then with White Rabbit's effect, we're going to set our TB11. We're going to activate TB11 because we have a Maliss monster. We can activate it to turn it set, banishing our White Rabbit to summon out Dormouse. Next, we can activate White Rabbit to summon itself. And then we can link off. Now, keep in mind, the monster that was summoned cannot activate its effects while that monster is summoned that time. But don't worry, we will get to activate it again very, very soon. So next, we're going to link these 2 off, and we're going to summon our Hagados Lizardos. Now, what's very important about this, not only for the fact it banishes, but if it banishes it, it banishes for cost, which means that your opponent cannot negate that effect. With like an Infirm or whatever not. It's very broken. So it's very hard to stop unless like you already have a skill drain that's already in the field. No, it wouldn't even matter. Skill drain wouldn't even matter because you're banishing for cost. So pretty much it's almost impossible to stop unless you like Judgment this or something. Anyway, we're gonna summon back our Dormouse, and then Dormouse is gonna activate its effect. We're gonna banish Chessy Cat, and then we can resummon Chessy Cat to our field. And next, we are going to go ahead and make our Red Ransom. Now, what's very important here to know is, like I said, if you go for this line and you think they have an Infirm and they have it, or multiple Infirms, and you were able to extend, Hagados Lizardos could be a way to get a body through like a Veiler. If they were like to Veiler a Splash Mage or something, you want to do that early. But most of the time using Splash Mage late anyway, but it's just something you might want to know. Next, we're going to activate Red Ransom. Red Ransom is going to go ahead and add our Maliss in the Mirror. Now, if we already have... Now, you could add Underground as well, because we already have a Maliss card to banish. But if you don't have a Maliss card to banish, you want to add Maliss in the Mirror. And then we are going to go ahead and banish Maliss in the Mirror. And we will draw 2 cards. Like I said, Pot of Greed, very broken. And then we can activate Maliss in the Mirror. We're just going to bounce the Maliss monster. We already used Dormouse already, but we can recycle it for our Hearts Cryptor if we wanted to. And then here we can search our March Hare. Keep in mind what other effects. Now, if you're a Ritual Beast player and you've played this, it might be a little bit easier for you because you're used to keeping track of things that have been summoned and what effects you've used and so on and so forth. Now, we've already used Chesty Cat. We've already summoned Cat. We've already summoned Dormouse. It's very important to keep track of this because you can forget. And we've already summoned March Hare. I mean, not March Hare. We've already summoned Rabbit. So, White Rabbit. So, keep that in mind. Next, we're going to link off into Decode Talker. Not Decode Talker. Link Decoder. Oh, and then we're going to go ahead and link these off into a Firewall Dragon. Don't pay attention to anything else that's in our hand. Next, Decoder will go ahead and resummon itself, which we will do that. Then we can activate our March Hare, and we're going to banish our Hearts Cryptor, not Hearts Cryptor, our Red Ransom from the graveyard. Summon itself. Now, as you can see already, we're already... Ooh, well, in that case, if we didn't have another March Hare, I meant to click yes, we would search another March Hare. So yes, yes, you would banish another card. We would banish March Hare and then add it back with its own effect. That's the correct play. But we do have one. We wouldn't be able to do it anyway because we already have 3 in the hand. But normally, if we didn't have these in the hand, you would activate Red Ransom and then banish March Hare. And then March Hare would add itself back with its own effect. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Now at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to make your Hearts Cryptor using your 3 bottom monsters. Then Firewall Dragon activates, and you're going to summon March Hare from the hand. Again, that you would have searched off your Red Ransom. And then we're going to go ahead and make Splash Mage. Using Hearts Cryptor and your White Rabbit. Splash Mage will trigger. Summon back anyone. I would recommend staying away from White Rabbit if they have a Bestial. The reason why I say that is because you're going to want that in your graveyard to be able to banish later. Which say like a March Hare to banish your White Rabbit to get a trap set. So just keep that in mind. Next, we're going to go ahead and make our White Binder. We're going to activate White Binder's effect on summon. If you want to banish anything from your graveyard, now is the time, which we are going to do. We're going to banish our Hearts Cryptor in order to summon it. If you're going second or your opponent has used a hand trap that maybe you want to banish out of their graveyard, you can absolutely do that here as well. So next, we're going to go ahead and activate our Hearts Cryptor's effect after our White Binder. So we're going to use White Binder first, and we're going to set our GWC to the field. And then we can activate our Hearts Cryptor. Now this may seem weird, and this is why you always want 2 in the banish. Like I said, we can recycle Dormouse later on, so it's not a big deal. And this is why I said you can banish it early on. We can put 1 in the deck for follow-up, whatever. And we're going to banish our White Binder. You're going to go, we're banishing ourselves? Yes, we are. Because now we're going to resummon it, and we're going to get a draw for it. And who says no to a +1, right? Okay, now at this point we can use Firewall to add anything back we want to our hand. So if we want to add back more follow-up, we can absolutely do that. In this case, I'm just going to add back March Hare. And adding back March Hare is great because then we can banish our White Rabbit for more plays on the opponent's turn. Now next, we're going to link all these off into Neo Tempest Terrorx. And with this, we can go ahead and send our Druid Swarm to the graveyard, Disturb Swarm. So this can instantly become a spell trap negate, dodge gold by the grave on their turn. And then we have how many disruptions? Okay, so let's point this out. I'm going to skip to the opponent's turn so that way you can see this. Just discarding 1 card in their hand So we already have the March Hare that we added back off the firewall. So keep this in mind. So off the firewall, you generally want to add back the March Hare because the March Hare will allow you to, the March Hare will allow you to, allow you to banish White Rabbit, as you will see. Okay. So we're going to allow him to go. Alright. Now, pretend he has something in the graveyard. We would activate our Maliss trap, and we would go ahead and summon back with our G6. Summon back our White Binder. And then White Binder will activate its effect. We can banish a card from his graveyard if we want. So we'll pretend we banished one. So we can banish this and our March Hare if we want to. Again, adding back March Hare, this is why I say it's better, because if you want to banish multiple cards out of the graveyard, then you don't have to banish your own Hare. So we'll go ahead and summon. But if you wanted to add back something else, this is what you would do. And we'd add back our March Hare from the banished. March Hare can add back any one of our Maliss monsters. So we'll bring back Cryptor with its own effect. Then we can activate our March Hare. This time banishing out our White Rabbit. Activate White Rabbit. When she's banished, she can summon herself. And then White Rabbit can set a Maliss trap from the deck. So we can set our MTP07, which will allow us to get a non-target banish on the field. So how many disruptions do we have? Well, remember our Neo Tempest Terahertz can activate to negate a monster on the field. Or if you're playing the other one, you could suck it up. So that's another one you can think of. Again, I can't think of the name right off the bat. We could suck up a monster or negate, depending on whatever you want to play. Then we also have a spell trap negate in the graveyard. This could be for a call by. It could be for anything that your opponent has. Or a Bestial, because you will control a monster. Well, you won't control a monster, but yeah, you will. You will control this at the time. So if they have a Bestial, then that could be another time that they may want to Bestial you. If you don't end on the negate in the grave, but if you have the negate, well, no, because they could still Bestial you anyway, yeah. So this won't play around a Bestial, so keep that in mind. So you're not going to be able to play around a Bestial, but if they Bestial your White Binder, then you're just going to resummon it anyway. So that's gonna be irrelevant. So yeah, Bestial wouldn't do anything here. So forgive what I just said. So Bestial wouldn't do anything here because they just resummon the White Binder. But called by the grave, you can negate. That's something you can do. So you will have a spell trap negate, either for called by or for something else. You will have a Hearts Cryptor, non-target banish any card in the field. You will have a MTP07, non-target banish any card in the field. So that's already 3 disruptions that I talked about, 1, 2, and 3. A 4th disruption is this is a monster effect negate or a steal, so that's 4. And then White Binder can even be a disruption herself if you're banishing cards out of your opponent's graveyard, which is 5. Now, another thing to keep in mind with this is that this is a 1-card combo, A. B, you're drawing 3 cards in this combo, and you can see my hand size. I've already had to discard a card in the end phase. So, technically, you're probably going to have at least, 6 disruptions, because you're likely, given that you have 19 techs, going to draw into one of them. So I would say very likely that you have 6 disruptions. You would have to have like some insanely bad luck. And also you're playing 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. So if you draw into Allure, you can Allure and find text. So you're at least going to have 6 disruptions. So you're going to summon your Dormouse. Going to activate Dormouse's effect. Whoops. We're going to banish March Hare. Don't pay attention to anything else that's in the hand. March Hare will add back itself. And then we're going to link off into our link decoder. Next we'll activate March Hare, banish the Dormouse, summon itself, trigger Dormouse to summon itself, and then we will make Red Ransom. Now this is fully insulated through Ash Blossom, I'm going to show you how. We're going to activate Ransom Chain Link 1, Decoder Chain Link 2, so we chain block the Ash. Next, we're going to add our Maliss in Underground. Then we are going to link summon into Oppo. Next, we're going to activate our Underground, banishing our Maliss in the Mirror. If they were to Asher at any point during this long combo, then they can't because you have Oppo to protect. Next, we're going to go ahead and banish our Red Ransom, so we can resummon it. And then we're going to add March Hare from, White Rabbit, not March Hare. White Rabbit from deck to hand. We summon our Red Ransom. Activate Ransom to banish Chesty Cat. And then we're going to summon Chesty Cat in the field. Chesty Cat effect will banish the White Rabbit that we searched to summon it to the field. And then we'll activate White Rabbit, which will set our trap, our GWC from the field. Then we're going to make all 3 of these into a White Binder. Nope, excuse me, not all 3. We're going to make a Splash Mage first. Use me. Now, I like to use Chesty Cat because I don't like to put White Rabbit in the grave just yet. We will, but that way, like, you're less, well, you're still vulnerable to Bestial, but that way you get to a Link 3 before they can do that. Next, we'll revive back any of our Malices, and then we will make a White Binder. White Binder effect, we'll go ahead and banish up to 3 cards. Now, we've already banished for the effect of Red Ransom. This is very important. But we can banish anything we want. In this case, we've already used all of our effects, so it doesn't really pay to banish too much. But if there's something you want to put back in the deck later on, we can. So we can just banish Chesty Cat, I guess, if we want to. Okay. Main important thing is we're going to activate White Binder's effect to set a Malice trap from the deck. And that is going to be our Malice, let's see here. And then we're going to activate our GWC to banish our White Binder to summon back our Red Ransom. Now, and we're also going to gain 2,300 life. Now, if you think that's already broken, we're going to get to draw another card. Like I said, you draw so many cards in this deck. Then we can now make our Tempest Terra Earths using a Link 3 and treating these both as Link 1s. You could also make Hearts Cryptor here if you wanted to as well. That's just an idea. And then we could send our True Swarm, and then we're back to where we were before. Malice C, and then we have our Durk Fluid and our Apollosa. Now what gets even more broken is, let's say we want to extend this, then we could go Allure. You know, not part of the 1-card combo, but... And then you can kind of see, like, you're drawing into a ton of tech cards and having, like, multiple disruptions. This is 1-2 negates. If you've negated an Ash, then it's like 1 negate, 2 disruptions here, as I said before. Then we can revive this, and then get to banish our March Hare to summon our White Rabbit to set a Malice trap. Unless the hand trap disruptions in your hand could get really out of hand really quick. So, yeah, really good. Alright, so that's basically my tutorial guide. I will have a video coming out soon of some replays with this deck. So yeah, again, I want to talk about one more thing before we end, and that's how to counter the deck. So what are your best counters to Malice? How do you beat this deck? Well, Lancia is one. This is the main counter. Another one could be Chaos Hunter. So this card, basically, when your opponent special summons, you can discard 1 card, special summon this, and your opponent can't banish anything. So these are 2 really good ways to beat it. Bestials at the right time can also deal with them. Ash is unreliable, I feel. Completely unreliable. So, like, Bestials could be a good way there. What else do I feel is good? Imperm is solid against them. They can't play through Nibiru, so you gotta be careful with that. Imperm and Valor at the right time could be good against them in combination of other hand traps. So, like, I think that these are some of the better techs against them, for sure. Impulse is also really good. So, like, if you could Impulse, like a Dormouse summon, or whatever not, Impulse could also be good if your deck can run it. So these are, like, some of the better counters to Malice. Ash is unreliable. They can get through an Ash very easily. or just do the combo I showed you, which fully insulates Ash Blossom. But yeah, these, if timed out correctly, could be effective. Don't use Shifter, obviously, because Shifter does nothing against them at all. Maxi is also obviously good. It's good against, like, everything. But Fulveros is very good as well, because they do summon a lot of the deck. However, the only problem that does exist is that they can start playing Draw and Lock, which Draw and Lock, they can play around very effectively. Don't try and draw them, because I think they... Like, personally, they can play around it. It's not that big of a deal for them. So, they could get through a draw and Maxi and Fulveros. But these are the best ways I feel that could beat Maliss, is that these cards here. So, I would highly recommend that. I'll generate one of these for you as well to get a better view. But I highly recommend these cards to deal with Maliss. Bystials are decent if they're timed correctly, like I said before. And as you can see by the list that we have, if we go back to the list that we're running, you can see we're on Lancia. Shifter, we have to play because Shifter just beats everything else. Impulse, like I talked about before. The Bystials, as I just talked about. The one Imperm. Crossout, obviously, is great in the mirror. I mean, I'll really demonstrate that. Called By can be good against them as well if you time it out right. Especially if you go first. If they want to link off their Dormouse or whatever not, then you can banish it, they can't use the effect, or you can banish like a Red Ransom so they can't bring it back. There are ways like Call By can be good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, it's your boy Sean Matry, signing out. Bye, YouTube.